Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro flushed hops, cold stored yeast and milled to order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, it's time to crack open a beer and start your weekend with, by hearing about Brad's romantic weekend in Paris, eh?
Oh, mate, I tell you what, I'm absolutely knackered from going from bloody Sweden, where we had a mental 3-day shoot. What time did we get back? I don't even remember. We got back quite late at night.
I got home just before 10pm, so you probably half an hour earlier.
No, I reckon I was 10pm as well. And then I had to get up at 5am because I was on the earliest Eurostar the following morning. Which is great. I just felt incredibly tired. And then Paris was amazing. I've never been to Paris before. So I was just taking it all in. Somehow I'd managed to book my hotel half in the knowledge that I was near a flea market. What I didn't quite appreciate was I was basically in the middle of the biggest antiques and flea market in the world, which I think is something like 7 hectares wide. 7 square hectares.
Do you know how wide a hectare is?
It's like a farm, isn't it, mate? It's a decent sized farm. We're talking almost like kilometres here of thousands and thousands of shops. It's fucking insane. It's known as the World Attic. It's called Depuis Saint-Ouen. I probably murdered how you pronounce that. But it's loads of different villages with different things. Mate, I tell you what, Eurostar, big fan. I managed to bring a 2.5 metre long metal Coca-Cola sign, an American vintage Coca-Cola sign all the way back on the Eurostar. 2.5 metres long. Fucking amazing.
What a sight you'd have been.
Yeah. I look like a total nutter. But, especially when I walked into the hotel as well. They gave me some really fruity looks. But
I probably thought you were redecorating your hotel room.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the sort of thing I enjoy, Johnny. And when I'm not drinking beer, I'm out,
supporting Macro Cola.
Yeah, well, I love that. I love branding. I love Americana. I do love Coca-Cola branding. It's like the best brand ever. Like, it's an incredible, from a sort of graphic perspective, it's incredible. But it was great. So I just feel incredibly tired. I walk like 8 miles a day every day, so I basically did a marathon. But I also ate a milfoil every day, so I kept my spirits up with that, and then we drank
calories up. Yep.
Yeah, kept my calories up. That wine, just sort of like drinking wine wholesale. Not a lot of beer consumption, sorry, Johnny. I did have a Pacifico, which is definitely not craft beer, at an amazing taco place where I had some beef tongue tacos, which were a bit chewy, but were very, very tasty. And that had a secret cocktail bar out back, which you recommended to me, and I believe was recommended to you by Alex, French Guy Cooking, right?
When my wife and I went, we got recommendations from a couple of people, but I think that was an Alex recommendation. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was incredible. It was like a sort of hidden cave out the back of this very small hole in the wall taco place. It was awesome, man. Like so nice. The people in there were lovely. They did a round of shots with us at the end of the night because we'd had a good time having a chat about heavy metal music and various other things. Yeah, it was great, man. So Paris is awesome. Romance was good. Snails were okay.
Romance was good. What a review. Blimey.
Yeah. So romance, successful romantic weekend, I think. Yeah,
when you say romance, you mean that you really love your new Coca-Cola sign?
Oh, dude, I'm in love. So in love. I'm just trying to work out where I'm going to put a 2.5 meter metal sign in my already full house. But
you
I
don't
think,
have much wall space.
No,
Maybe
I feel
up
like
the stairs.
Well, it would go up the stairs, 100%. But what I'm actually thinking is I might take some of the tiles off the wall in my kitchen and have it as like a sort of kitchen thing where my units are.
Lordy.
Because I got this metal 1950s kitchen as well. So it'll fit right in, basically, Johnny. I'm just a bit of a mentalist.
I can hear you justifying the purchase in your head right in there. It'll fit right in. I've got a 1950s kitchen.
I'll tell you what, Johnny, it cost me €100, which is, I spent... Yeah, I don't think that's that bad. I think it's all right. I don't spend a lot of money on stuff, but I splashed out on that. That was the most I spent on anything there, obviously.
For euro per square meter.
Exactly.
It's not bad.
Euro per footage or meterage. We're talking, what does that work out a meter? It's 2.5 meters long. My maths is terrible. It's cheap. It's cheap per meter, mate. It's peanuts per meter.
There you go.
Should we talk about beer? What do you reckon?
Yeah. Well, we could talk about that bottle of Pacifico, but maybe we should talk about our trip to Sweden to see Omnipollo.
Oh, dude. Do you know what? It was incredible, buddy. Being back with you, like a couple of, cowboys out on the open range, sailing through the skies. Cowboys don't sail, do they? Maybe we're voyagers. We're like, spacemen or whatever. Beer explorers, going to a foreign land again. We haven't done that in like 2 years. It's incredible.
So I'm just flicking through our videos to try and find the last time we went abroad. It's bleak.
Yeah.
I'm having to load more videos. Oh my God, I think it was nearly 3 years.
No way.
Yeah.
Mate, I tell you what, it didn't disappoint, did it, right? Omnipollo, man, I have got a serious man crush on Carl and Henok.
I could tell you had a man crush on Carl.
They're such nice dudes, right? They're fucking amazing guys, man.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be one of our best videos, particularly. So we shot 3 videos out there. We've shot What is Pastry Stout, chatting to Henok. We shot a homebrew, the start of a homebrew episode. So we're going to be brewing a pastry stout in a couple of weeks on the Grainfather. And then we also shot a full documentary all about Omnipollo. And I can tell you, there are some amazing revelations in there about how Omnipollo go about their art, about their brewing, about how everything's changed now that they brew a lot, well, not a lot of the beer, a proportion of the beer themselves. Stuff like using organic Swedish malt. Their approach to adjuncts, the sourcing that they do, traveling all over Africa to get the correct beans and stuff like that. Like we're gonna blow some minds and change some minds, I think. And Henok and Carl, the amount of we consider pastry beer being sort of throwaway beer, like. It's sort of quick culture, right? It's like make a pastry beer, people will line up for it, we'll make a ton of cash and then never really have to worry about the quality of it. If it explodes, it probably won't because they'll drink it too fast, all this kind of stuff. But the way that Omnipollo do it is so different. There's more thought goes into their pastry stouts than most of the lagers and IPAs that we drink every day, I think. Like a proper, a mindful experience almost, some of the beers that they're making.
It's contemplative, it's mindful, it's hyper aware of every single ingredient that's going in. Like I think it's the nerdiest of nerdy beer experiences I've possibly ever had. The levels that Henrik was going into about where they source their stuff. Like I think people think they just get instant coffee and like bang it in or something, but that's like you said, they're literally traveling around the world, sourcing different things loads of different kinds of vanillas even to go into different things. Like, it was just like beyond amazing. And real ingredients. We're not just talking like flavor compounds and additives and all that kind of stuff. They're like real physical things that they're putting in to this mental, what was that thing even called? It was like a sort of hop cannon thing, but it wasn't. It was like a motorboat engine sort of banged on the side of a thing.
Yeah,
Crazy.
a hop cannon technically.
Yeah.
But they also called it the spice. No, a hop gun, and they called it the spice cannon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild stuff.
Yeah.
And the church is incredible. Like, what a sort of cathedral to beer, in every sort of sense. It was just, if anyone can get to go out there, like, highly recommend it. And the hat as well was just incredible.
The hat was magic. The pizza was amazing. The slushies we had were amazing as well. I'm always skeptical of these kind of things, but particularly the sour beers I thought really worked. So I mean, it's going to be I don't want to give away any more. It's going to be a really amazing bit of content, and we're also going to dive into the art of Omnipollo as well, because that's so much a part of of how they've got to where they are, but also how their beer really manages to speak. And the other amazing, surprising thing we're going to talk about is the fact that they now brew pretty great lager, and that's sort of their next big project. It was interesting actually. The Henok, when we were talking to Henok about the process of making the beer and the geekiness and the processes, he actually reminded me, and he would hate for me to say this, reminded me of Chris Loring from Notch, and the level of geekiness in the actual process of it that goes in. But I'm sure that I don't think Chris would ever drink a pastry stout or enjoy a pastry stout. But there was, I feel like, some actual synergies there in terms of how they go about their business.
Yeah, I feel like obviously Henok's sort of background as a home brewer as well. Like, I think Sweden's probably, like, along with Japan, is like one of the geekiest. They like really super get into culture, whatever the culture or subculture or whatever. So they're like beer nerds are like super nerdy and obsessive. And just the way he talked about some of the beers that inspired him as well, I found really joyous. And it was just a wonderful experience, man.
Absolutely, yeah. So it'll be a couple of weeks before sort of that main video comes out, but it's definitely going to be worth hanging on for. And obviously, I mean, our pastry stout homebrew episode is going to be wild, because we're going to have to do reiterated mashes, split batches, toasting our own. God knows what we're going to be putting in, but toasting it, and it's going to be a really fun episode. So I'm excited to get stuck into that. I think I've got my grist recipe just about there. I need Henok to let me know what he thinks of it, but it's all in hand. Talking of stouts, shall we talk about this week's episode?
Oh,
sorry, not this week's, last week's episode, I should say.
Yeah, we're all getting a bit jet lagged, and time has become an abstract concept at this point. After 7 days of travelling to 2 different countries for me anyway. But, mate, lowbrow. We're in lowbrow land again, once again. The Guinness Nitro Surge, Johnny. It's a gadget that I've wanted to get hands on for a long time, but they proved incredibly elusive. And it took one of my very good friends, who is Irish, going back to Ireland for Christmas to visit his family. He hadn't been back in over 2 years with COVID. So, he was just incredibly happy to be home. But amazingly, he brought me back a Nitro Surge and 2 of the Nitro Surge cans as my Christmas present, Johnny. So it was just such a lovely gift. And they were basically impossible to get hold of. So it enabled us to make that video. And thank you, Tommy. Mate, I absolutely love this gadget. I thought it was incredible. What about you? What did you think? Did it dispel your myths? Because, I think it had the potential to be a piece of shit, right? It's got a big name slapped on it, but Guinness out of a can at home sucks. So, I do like a pint of the black stuff from time to time. Like, as I've said before, it's my safety pint. If I go to maybe a pretty bad pub, maybe I've gone to a gig with friends and we've met somewhere that I wouldn't normally go, and the beer's a bit dodgy, I will maybe swerve sometimes to a pint of black stuff. Or if I'm in a great Irish pub like the Dog and Bell in Deptford, I absolutely relish it, mate. But for once, I think I had a home pint which just blew my socks off. It was incredible.
I thought it was pretty good.
Pretty good in terms of a gadget. Pretty good in terms of like not really that into Guinness. Well, no, you like Guinness. You don't mind Guinness, so pretty good in terms of the experience overall.
Yeah, exactly. I think I think the texture that it managed to create was pretty amazing. I think my issue with it, I guess, and it's also slightly my issue with the Cask Ale at Home video that we did. It's just like there's still something about, I'd never really drink Guinness at home. I'd always go out. It feels like a pub pint, So the best thing that Guinness could do is install a pub in my house, and then I'd really, really enjoy that experience. But in terms of like just the texture of it, it was pretty bang on, to be fair. I'm still not 100% sure how the gadget entirely works. I know it says like ultrasonic waves, and it seemed to, like, when you were pouring, it sort of like turned on and turned off and turned on and turned off. So it was like sending a wave through to agitate the nitrogen and create that kind of surge that you get in the glass. But when I don't understand something, I'm always skeptical of it. So I'm still not sure quite what it does, but it was 100% better than the Guinness draft cans.
Yeah,
100% better.
Do you not think? I think, right, there's a time for everything in this world, right? So something comes along at the perfect time, and it's like, boom, yes, that makes 100% sense. Isn't this the perfect COVID gadget for the people of Ireland? It wasn't internationally available. It was only available in Ireland and Northern Ireland. This came out. This must have been an absolute lifesaver during the pandemic when all the pubs were shut. People of Ireland could drink their pretty much national drink at home and get a little bit of comfort in like a pretty hard time. So I think it's a reasonable price point, and the experience I thought was banging.
Yeah, well, there was a comment that said, 25 quid's a bit much for a decent pint of Guinness. You're like, but the idea is the people that get this are going to use it all the time, because I think that person underestimates how loyal people are to Guinness. It's not for you who enjoys the odd pint of Guinness. It's for people that maybe can't get to the pub for whatever reason. It won't be COVID, hopefully, in the future. It'll be another reason. And now they'll always have a decent textured pint of Guinness at home, and that is kind of amazing if that's your beer. It'd be like if I could have a way of pouring Pilsner Urquell with a proper Luca side pour, so it was always creamy as hell. That would be the equivalent for me.
Wow! Imagine if they come out with a PU can that's got like a sort of nitro surge side pour gadget on. We were talking about that, making something like that, weren't we? Like 3D printing it somehow. But
yeah, I mean, don't give the game away, Bradley. That is still a bit of content I'd like to do. There was actually the comment that I wanted to pick out in the video was from Jonas N. He said, "Awesome episode of Lowbrow. Next step would be nitro everything. Episode 1, Shankirla does it nitro." Seriously, guys, thanks for that. I don't know what, and this is something we should test, I guess. That's what they're asking us to do, but we should test normal CO2 beer through it. But I assume we're just going to get foam and then a flat beer.
Yeah, man, this is why we need to try it. But I also picked that comment out. I've got other comments, but I thought it was a great comment. And it's gone in my... Thank you, Jonas. And it's gone top of the list on my lowbrow episode ideas now. So,
oh, my God.
Nitro everything, I think, is great. It sounds like a sort of Too Fast, Too Furious sort of prequel or sequel. I don't know what it would be, but like Vin Diesel is going to make a guest appearance as we just nitro the fuck out of everything. It got me thinking about other gadgets that sort of also can maybe get you a sort of experience like that at home. So I know that UKEG, they're called Growlerworks. UKEG is the product. They make a UKEG Nitro, which allows you to sort of pour nitro homebrew coffee. Have I said that right? I think I've said that right. So instead of a CO2 canister on a growler, it's a growler, but it has a nitrogen canister. And I thought,
so your nitro CO2 mix.
Yeah, I was like, if you can do that with cold brew, surely you can do that with stouts and stuff, and nitrogenate them yourself.
There's only one way to find out: lowbrow.
You lowbrow, baby. But I don't know whether it looks identical to the CO2 gadget, except it's so the CO2 growler, UK Go and UK whatever it's called. But they're just a different color. I'm like, the pressure presumably is different, so I don't know whether the valves are different.
No, it would be a different tap.
A different tap, is that all? Oh, right. So the tap fitting on it it allows a different kind of way of pouring.
Or at least that's my understanding, because you need a different nozzle for pouring draft nitro. So I'd assume it'd be a different tap.
Got you. So I thought that was great. We had a comment from Pats, who said, "Great content as always, guys. Would love to see this up against the physics draft pour machine, which I think would do a better job with the Siren beer." Probably would, because that is more of a sort of general dispensing gadget, right? So it's not doing, as far as I know, any ultrasonic witchcraft. It's just a way of dispensing without sort of letting lots of oxygen into the can or the bottle, whatever you feed under the physics draft pour. I had a comment from David Ellis, who said, "Lowbrow baby, oh my goodness, I want one, I want one, I want one. Excellent gadget journalism, Brad. The Steve Jobs of beer gadgetry."
Go gadget journalism. Love it.
I mean, I'm definitely not the Steve Jobs, and I wouldn't even call myself a journalist. So, but thank you so much, David Ellis. That made my day when I read that. Yeah, so I had a great time. I think, I need to give a shout out. Ryan Carter said, "Need to give the Guinness Guru a bit of a nudge for this. #domage." So yeah, I did reference the domage on the top of the pint, which is something that Guinness Guru talks about a lot on his YouTubes. But also, I've got Irish mates who talk about it as well. So it's not just a Guinness Guru phenomenon that you're sort of looking for a domage on a pint. But yeah, shout out anyway. And I had a great time, and I think we will put it up against some other gadgets for home dispensing. We have to, right? We have to have a shootout of the home dispense gadgets at some point.
Yeah, I think it's the logical conclusion. Once we've accrued them all and done lowbrows on all of them, we can do a James Hoffman style "which one would I buy?" in which we're overly earnest, incredibly enthusiastic, but very calm in an almost ASMR kind of way,
nice.
Which is very much your vibe. We can give that a go.
Beautiful. I can't wait for that day. So we've got a few to get through. Like I said, we'll do the physics draft pour machine. I was looking at some pressurized growlers in America that have got different attachments for doing different things. I think I even found one that you can put CO2 or nitrogen attached to it, and then have different taps and all that sort of stuff on it. So I need to reach out again to those guys and see if it's a good product. But yeah, it's still a thing that people are seeking out to do that aren't comfortable yet about going back into the world, or they've just realised that actually they don't like anyone and they just want to stay at home and drink great beer. So
there are people that decided that, I think.
Yeah. No, right? I mean, human contact's overrated, right, Johnny? No, it's great. I miss going to the pub all the time. Mate, when we worked together, we used to be down the pub every day for lunch, pretty much, or at least after work.
Yeah, that's the thing I miss most about freelance. It's either the Friday lunch pints or the Friday after work pints.
Incredible.
It's just not quite the same, just
no.
On your own in the Brudio.
And it's, it wasn't even, it was work. It was still work. We were still engaged and thinking about stuff. But it's just great as a wind down, isn't it? I guess that's what we try and do an offer with Friday 5 p.m. is that kind of pub wind down experience with friends. At least that's how I look at this. I know you do as well. So hopefully, listeners at home, you feel that way.
Exactly. Well, we've run out of time for this week, but hopefully we have provided that for you on this Friday. There was no video this week because it's my turn to go on holiday. I'm going to go stay in a cabin in the middle of nowhere in Herefordshire. So we'll be back next week with our usual content schedule. So videos Wednesday, podcast Friday. And like I say, we've got some amazing Omnipollo content and lots of other stuff coming up. So that's everything. We will catch you next week. And in the meantime, just remember, love and beer. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/the craft beer channel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.